Welcome back, everybody. Fancy Endgame, and we're here live. That's right, live again every night, breaking it down for you because it's draft week. For some people, still got drafts going on. Not a lot of time left, of course, because we're approaching finally the first game of the season, and so you figure you're good. You got some Chiefs, you're pretty happy. Maybe some Lions in the mix. And just when you think, today might be a slow news day, right before the season starts, oh no, there's never a slow news day in the NFL, is there?
No.
It's funny too, Chris. We've been talking about guys like Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp the last couple of days because, as you recall, last year they were just the safest picks you could make. Cooper Kupp, why would you not draft Cooper Kupp unless you're drafting JT because he's for sure the number one, 1.1 number one running back. So this year, you know what? Running backs just aren't safe, right? We've established that. Cooper Kupp. No. So what's the safest thing to do? You get the guy who's been the number one tight end for how many years? Travis Kelce. There's no safer pick than Travis Kelce, is there? Until today.
Until today, yeah.
So I believe is a hyperextended knee, but that's all we know unless there's something I don't know.
Well, Adam Schefter did update us about an hour ago. Said they believe the ACL is intact, which is good news that, it's not an ACL tear. But it's also a little scary that, there was concern that it could have been ACL, because that sounds more like, oh, he just kind of hyperextended his knee, okay, no worry about the ACL. It's they're whew, we dodged a bullet. His ACL's intact. So I guess that's the good news. Bad news is the fact that he even checked it and thought that was a concern means it's probably more serious. But even if it's a hyperextended knee, I mean, they're saying that they got to wait. It's still swollen. It's still swollen, which no surprise. But they got to wait for the swelling to go down and then really find out. So I mean, at a minimum, there's no chance. The game is in 2 days. Maybe if they played on Sunday, there'd be a shot that he could play, right? The swelling goes down, they check it out, everything's good. And by Saturday, he's like, yeah, I feel pretty good. There's no way the swelling's going to go down and tomorrow he's going to be like, yeah, I'm great, let's go. No. So you're at least going to be without him this week and who knows how much longer.
And even if Travis Kelce is like, look, it's week 1, I'm not missing, I'm good, let's go. The training staff and the coaching staff will probably be like, no, let's wait because it's a long season and this team really doesn't need to win week 1. Probably doesn't care that much about this game. They care about winning another Super Bowl. They need Travis Kelce, especially this year. So there's a good chance that even if he's 80, 85%, they'll err on the side of caution and at the very least would limit his snaps if he's even cleared to play. So we'll get to in a minute, talking about, who might benefit, if anybody. But right now, if you are drafting tonight, tomorrow, right? A lot of people do last-minute draft, right? Draft maybe even Thursday afternoon. If you're drafting, does Travis Kelce move down your board at all?
I think he has to a little bit. I have my home league draft tonight, so I will be drafting tonight. Mm-hmm. And I expect that Travis Kelce will fall to at least the second round, if not farther, because that's just how it works. I would happily
Cooper Kupp drop to the 5th round in some leagues. So yeah, I get that. He will fall, whether he should or not.
I would happily take Travis Kelce in the second. And if Travis Kelce is still let's say you pick I get the 10th pick tonight because that's just what my home league does to me every year. It's a 10-team league, and they make me pick 10th every year. It's just what they do. I don't think I'm going to go Travis Kelce at 10 or 11 because, you're still talking about, first rounders in 12-team leagues. But if Travis Kelce is there at the 3-4 turn, 100% Travis Kelce will be on my team tonight. And I wouldn't even be surprised if he made it that far, to be honest. I wouldn't even surprise me. I think if Travis Kelce falls to you in the 3rd round of your draft and you don't click draft, you just say you hate winning. I'm too scared. I'm too scared to play to win. How do you not, even if he misses 3 weeks and then comes back 100% for the rest of the season, that's a league-winning pick in the third round.
Yeah, like I said, he's consensus first round. I don't care the format. Look, some drafts I see, he's a top 5 pick. All right,
Yeah.
not tight end premium or any bonus or anything, just a flat out regular PPR
Right.
league, and he's a top 5 pick because people like that comfort, that safety of like I know I'm getting the top tight end, like no questions asked. I know I'm getting a guy who basically gives me wide receiver 1 production, like, and he's not a running back, and he's not some young receiver who's unproven. Like we just know he's going to be a stud until he gets hurt. But anyways, I had not seen anything about even the term ACL being involved. All I had seen was a hyperextension. It's like, okay, well, that's not a big deal. If he misses week 1, whatever. Um, if there's a multi-week injury, I mean, this is different than Cooper Kupp still to me because even though Kelce is a little older, he's a tight end. He relies a little less on speed than Kupp to get separation. He can use his size, right, and his positioning in the middle of the field. But also, he's got Pat Mahomes, who doesn't care if you're open or not. He'll find a way to just put the ball in your hands.
Yeah.
But also, with Kupp, it's like repeated injuries. This is a severe hamstring, apparently, that's been lingering for a month, and he's had injuries in the past. The one thing that made Kelce so appealing in the first round is that he had not gotten any serious injuries for years. That's why he finished as tight end. It doesn't matter how good you are, you can't finish as a top scorer if you don't play a full season. So
Right.
if it's 1 or 2 games, like so what? I'm still drafting him early second round. You know what I mean? Even if he's ruled out for this week, and I'm definitely going to buy the dip and get that discount if he falls to the third round.
Yeah.
I don't think it sounds like it's anything that's actually serious, but of course, we don't really know that yet. So let's assume the worst. I don't think it's not, I'm not going to pretend he's a season ending, right? I'm not going to say that, but let's say he might miss a few weeks. He might miss 4 or 5 weeks. Jonathan Taylor has dropped to like the 8th and 9th round, for missing 4 games. Of course, that's a different situation, but let's say Travis Kelce, they just say multi-week injury. You obviously get him later in the draft, but does anybody really benefit in Kansas City?
I mean, have to, right? Have to. Like, unless you think like Travis Kelce is the reason why Patrick Mahomes is so good.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you're like, well, without Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes is going to struggle now. But look, people said that when Tyreek Hill got traded, they're like, oh, he's not going to have that deep threat anymore. Like, he's going to be terrible. And he was like better than ever. And like, Patrick Mahomes is still going to be great. And somebody, or maybe a few somebodies, are going to be on the receiving end of that greatness because it's not going to be Travis Kelce, at least for this week. And that's a huge, like, he's the number 1 target. So obviously the guy I think benefits the most would be Sky Moore because he seems like the wide receiver. Like when you look at MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he's just a vertical guy. I've talked about him for years now. He just runs straight, which, look, every now and then Patrick Mahomes is going to hit him and he's going to have a big game. But when he doesn't, he's going to do nothing. Sky Moore can run way more routes, can line up all over the field. He's probably the guy I would peg number 1. Tony would be number 2, but there's always the question marks for Tony. Like, is he playing 30% of the snaps? Is he playing 50%? Is he playing? You know what I mean? Like, so, they would be like my number 1 and 2. And I really don't know. Like Richie James, like Rashee Rice. Did Justin Ross even make the roster? I don't even know.
He did make the cut.
Okay, like those guys, like you maybe stash them just in case. Like in case Kelce's out multiple weeks, and maybe like, hey, Justin Ross was the number 3 receiver or whatever, right? Something like that. But if I was gonna, play one of these guys this week, it would either be Sky Moore would be my number 1 choice, and then Tony. Otherwise, I'm probably just staying away. I do think this might make McKinnon a little more interesting, or maybe CEH. Apparently, CEH is the pass catching back now. I don't know. Yeah, probably just Sky Moore and Tony for me.
Well, like I'll say let's start with tight end. The backup tight end would be Noah Gray, who once in a while kind of appears out of nowhere and catches a 2-yard touchdown. Could he do that? Sure. But does that mean anything for fantasy? No, I'm not picking up Noah Gray unless for some reason there's absolutely no tight end depth whatsoever in the waiver wire in your crazy deep league or something. Maybe as like a DFS play, sure. But I'm not picking him up in like a redraft fantasy league. As far as wide receivers, the other guys I think don't benefit. You already mentioned Rashee Rice, Justin Ross on the roster, but we've already heard from both about both of those guys from the coaching staff. They're going to be what they call package players. They're going to be in on certain types of packages, certain personnel groups. They're not going to all of a sudden see their snaps expanded because they're both rookies. Justin Ross technically not, but basically is because he hasn't played really. He didn't play last year, and then Rashee Rice is a rookie. So those guys are not going to have any increase in value right now. And then if Kelce is back within 4 or 5 weeks, it still don't matter, right? So, which he should be. Again, I'm not assuming this is a serious injury. So I think Sky Moore, the obvious guy who's going to benefit. The other guy, as you already mentioned, Jerick McKinnon. I think he's kind of the guy who kind of sneakily benefits here because he will substitute for some of those short passes. And we've seen that they will rely on him sometimes. So McKinnon is a guy who now gets more interesting. Again, I'm not starting him against Detroit. I'm not, necessarily rushing out to start him until I see something, but he could be a guy who benefits a lot because this receiver core all of a sudden it's Sky Moore who really, let's face it, isn't really proven yet. He hasn't really proven that he can produce consistently. MVS just is what he is. And then Richie James also has been limited in practice with a knee injury. It doesn't look serious. I don't know that he's going to be ruled out or anything. But again, this wide receiver depth is kind of shaky here. So just something to look out for. Maybe just means the Chiefs just don't score as many points. But yeah, we always say that and it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it won't matter.
All right, guys. So we're going to get to some questions and comments here. That's why we're here, help you with your last minute draft questions or your start sit questions, or also you just want to know how you did in your draft, rate your team. We'd love to do that. So before we get into it, let me also mention this might be a good time also to check out the picks on Underdog. You have not signed up for Underdog. You really should. Use promo code ENDGAME, 100% deposit match up to $100, and you can get into the game. There's still time left. If you see that green bar is not quite full, it's close, but it's not quite full. You can get in the Best Ball Mania 4 and have a chance to win. Was it $3 million this year? $3 million prize?
$3 million to first, yes.
That'll do. And you don't have to win the whole thing to get prizes. You can still win plenty of money if you finish lower. Weekly winners, a nice twist on it. And then the Puppy 4 just opened. I already got myself in one of those. I'm going to try to do as many as I can over the next 48 hours to max my entries. But you can get into those. And of course, the pick'ems. You do those picks, and we'll talk about some of our favorite picks a little later on. This is a nice little gimme there. I bet even without Travis Kelce, I'm willing to bet Mahomes might go over 0.5 total yards on Thursday. You think he can hit that mark?
I think so. And I'll say this is another thing. Like, Underdog is such a great site. But another thing I love, they did during the preseason, they did Anthony Richardson over like half a yard as well. And then Anthony Richardson didn't play in that game because it was preseason. And you know what Underdog did? They just said everybody who had Anthony Richardson, they win. You just win. Everybody wins. Like, so if you had picked another line and you just win. So even if somehow, because Travis Kelce is gone, Patrick Mahomes doesn't get 1 yard of anything somehow, you'll still win.
There you go. I mean, it's hard to be. It's just another way to follow. If you love fantasy football, it makes sense. You would love to do these pick'ems. Pick some of these, different variations here on guys for passing yards, touchdowns, whatever. There's so many different choices for every game. All these players, so definitely worth it. Check it out. Highly recommend. Let's now get to the questions and the comments. Fantasy football is pain. I mean,
today it is.
That's pretty fitting. That's pretty fitting for today. Let's see. Jonathan Taylor, Cooper Kupp, Travis Kelce. Who else we least expect would be?
There has to be some teams out there who drafted pretty recently got Travis Kelce in the first, took Cooper Kupp in like the second or the third, and then took Jonathan Taylor in like the sixth or seventh, and has all three of them. There has to be some teams like that. There just has to.
You know it is. And there's a lot more teams out there that the injuries just haven't happened yet, but they will.
Yes.
But that's why we're here, to help you prepare. So look, let's look at this one. 10-team half PPR, T-Law, Ramondre, Najee, Gibson, and Brian Robinson. Pacheco and McKinnon. Okay, so maybe. Hill, Olave, Cooper, Kirk, Bateman, Addison, and Higbee.
Why the sad face? Is that for Higbee? The sad face for Higbee? At least Higbee should be really good for the week or two or three that Kupp is out here. So after that, you could try to figure something out. But yeah, this is a very strong team for 10-team. I mean, you got an elite QB in T-Law. You got Ramondre, who I would consider Ramondre an RB1. Najee like a borderline RB1. And you still got Gibson. You got the Commanders and the Chiefs stack at running back, although again, maybe CEH. And then you got great receivers: Hill, Olave, Cooper, Kirk, Bateman, Addison. I mean, look, yeah, Higbee, probably not the ideal tight end in a 10-team league. But if you sacrifice tight end to make the rest of your roster awesome, that's just fine. So this is a great team. Great team. Well done.
For a 10-team, I think this is a really good team. And look, I'll just say we talked about this a lot with the Kupp injury or the Kupp situation or the Kupp whatever. Higbee now becomes probably the best late round tight end option there. Once you get past those top, like 6 guys, 7 guys, whoever you feel good about. If you're waiting on tight ends, he probably has the most upside now with Kupp probably out. So I think that's a really good team. All right, then we got Mark Evans. Appreciate the super chat, which, by the way, just a quick reminder for those who maybe don't know, we'll try to get to as many questions and comments as possible. I guarantee we will not get to all of them because there are going to be literally hundreds by the time we're done. The super chat guarantees that we will answer your question. We will not skip any super chats because that's what it's for. We'll try to get to some regular ones, but if you do drop a super chat, bear with us. We will get to your question for sure. So, and if we do skip you, then don't be afraid to yell at us. Mark Evans, need 3, 2 RBs and a flex, half PPR. Got Miles Sanders, Kenny Walker, Monty, Jamal Williams, and B-Rob.
All right, you got some good choices here, honestly. Man.
All very similar, right? I feel like all these RBs are kind of like bunched together. No elite RB1s, no scrubs. This is some tough decision making.
Yeah. I know a lot of people really like David Montgomery this week. And look, maybe with Kelce out, maybe the Chiefs don't score as many points and maybe the game is closer. Or maybe Patrick Mahomes is just an alien and it doesn't matter who he's throwing to and he'll still throw, 3 touchdowns and they'll still score a ton of points. But I think if it's me, I'm going Sanders, Walker, and Robinson. I feel like Sanders and Walker, I don't want to say like they're must starts, but I think out of this group, they're the ones I'm starting. Everything seems fine with Sanders growing. He's got the Falcons defense. That shouldn't scare you. Kenneth Walker at home against the Rams should have a big game. So then it comes down to Monty and Brian Robinson for me. And I'm just going to go with Brian Robinson against that Cardinals defense. I just think that matchup's too good. So I'm going to give Brian Robinson the slight edge over Monty. So Sanders, Walker, and Robinson are my 3 picks.
Yeah, Monty actually is interesting already because Chris Jones, as far as I know, still holding out for a new contract. If he doesn't play, that's a huge loss for the Chiefs defense, which already isn't one of the best defenses in the league. Yeah. That's not why they win. But that said, I still want a little bit more upside. Walker, to me, definitely starting. B-Rob, I love him, especially this week. And then, I think I had to put Sanders because he's got a pretty good matchup too in Atlanta. Monty does become maybe a little more interesting if we feel like the Chiefs are going to keep it closer now without Kelce. I almost feel like, I love a good conspiracy theory. I almost feel like everything's falling in line for like the Lions to pull off this week when upset against the Chiefs. Yeah. So I don't know, but I'm still not.
Everybody overreact to them like the Lions are going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, You know exactly what would happen, and that was it.
Yeah.
All right. Pedro Nevares. I'm sorry, Nevares. Rate please. Hertz, McCaffrey, Connor, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, Hawkinson, Watson, Vikings, Tucker, and on the bench, Robinson, Deontay, James Cook, and the Jets defense. Why? Okay, let me just stop and just make sure I read. It said Vikings, meaning the Vikings defense, right?
I hope not. I mean, I guess maybe he's playing the Vikings defense this week because it's Baker Mayfield and the Bucks, but I feel like there might be better defenses on your waiver wire, even still. But I don't know how many teams this league is, but it's a very good team. I mean, you got Jalen Hurts, you got CMC with James Conner, Brian Robinson, and James Cook. So I like all four of those running backs. You got Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith, Christian Watson. And even though you took Hawkinson probably fairly early, like you still have good wide receivers and you still have a good bench. I mean, you got Deontay Johnson on your bench even. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't know how many teams this is. Like if it's a 10 team, 8 team, 12 team, but just looking at the team, it's a very good team. Very strong team.
If we assume like a 12 team, typical 12 team league, I'd say it's about an 8 out of 10, really good. And I'll scale back. I'll say I get it. Vikings, you're going to match up against Baker Mayfield. That's actually probably they're not going to get many sacks, but maybe some interceptions. And I get the Jets, even though they have an elite defense, they're going against Buffalo. So as long as you promise to drop the Vikings defense after this week, then you're forgiven. All right, and then Juice 420 hates to ask, but you did ask: London or Michael Thomas?
I don't care who the Saints are playing.
It doesn't matter.
It's Drake London.
It is clearly Drake London. All right, had to get that one in, and then this one, Alan Wendling from Brazil. Just to
what's up? We're going global. Worldwide. Fantasy Endgame going global.
We're clearly global. The other day we had Austria and Croatia, and then today we're in Brazil. So we're moving south. In case Kelce does not play, who should I go for? Not a lot of options. So you got decent options. So you like a Conku, Laporta, Kincaid, or Gray, or somebody else maybe.
Well, if these are your best options, and the guy like I'm guessing Juwan Johnson is gone. I'm guessing Higbee is definitely gone. I think in this case I roll with Gray. I don't like Laporta. I don't like Laporta this week. I don't like Kincaid this week. I don't like Okonkwo this week. I'll just roll with Gray. Look, Gray, even when Travis Kelce is healthy, Gray gets somewhat involved, right? Sometimes you're watching the game and you see Mahomes throw it to Kelce for the touchdown. You're like, Kelce, and you're like, oh, wait, that was Gray? Like, oh, come on. It doesn't happen very often, but it happens like maybe once or twice a year. So it's not like he has no connection with him. So out of this list, I would just gamble on Gray.
Yeah, you don't want to start one of those rookies week one. And Kincaid just said playing the Jets, terrible matchup. Laporta, sorry, I'm not going to trust. My gut immediately said, well, Okonkwo, highest upside. But going against the Saints, I'm starting to realize now, seeing more of these projections and the statistics and the defense. Now I'm finally digging at defense as opposed to just offense. The Saints actually have a really good defense. And against the tight ends, especially, they're actually really good against the tight ends. So, yeah, I actually think I would go with Gray this week. I think that might be your best option. And then you remember yesterday, I think it was, where we had somebody, I believe this is the same user, Alex B, who was listening to his wife as far as who to draft. Well,
yes.
How the turntables. Told my wife to draft Kelce, play her in week one in the doghouse tonight.
Yeah.
You can't take the L for that, though, can you?
I mean, but the thing is, like, you're married. I'm married. We know how it works. It's not his fault. It's not his fault, but it's his fault.
It's his fault. Yeah.
It's fault. Yep.
It's always going to be your fault.
Yep.
All right. And Juice 420 with the same question.
We did that one.
Super chat.
Thank you for at least super chatting it to like soften the blow of asking a Drake London versus Michael Thomas question.
I put that one up anyways, and then I saw it was super chatted. But here we go. Joe, what's up, Joe?
Hey, what?
Okay,
Oh, okay.
Jefferson or Chase?
I mean, look, if I have them in that order, Jefferson, then Chase. If someone takes Chase first, take Jefferson. If someone takes CMC first, take Jefferson. If someone takes Jefferson first, take Chase.
Yeah, I mean it's not like you lose either way, but same thing. Had Jefferson number one all offseason, not going to change now. So
No.
if Jefferson's there, you take Jefferson. Period.
Yep.
And then Mike Chills. If Kelsey's out, would you flex Tony, assuming he plays, or Jamal Williams? Just a question you want to be asking in week one, right?
Yeah, right. It's just like, first of all, I'm curious. Like, you're flexing. Maybe it's a league where you don't actually have to start a tight end, which would make sense why Kelsey's your flex. But
Or maybe I don't know. Maybe he has Williams at the flex. Now wondering if you should swap Tony out for him. I don't know.
oh, that's true. Okay, I'm just really trying to hope that like this question somehow just disappears off the screen and I don't have to answer it.
Well, we
But
can
I
make
don't
it
think it's
happen. Look, there you go. All right. So the next one, no. Look, if it's your team,
Okay,
flex
I'm going to
Tony.
tell you straight up. If it was my team, I am playing Tony because I just don't see a lot of upside for Jamal Williams this week. Tennessee,
Yep.
even though they're a bad defense, they're a defense that you just throw on relentlessly. You don't have to even run the ball. And I think Derek Carr, first game with the Saints at home, he's going to have one of the best games he's ever had against this terrible defense. I just don't see a lot of upside for Jamal Williams. Even if he scores a touchdown, I don't think he has a ton of upside. I'll gamble on Tony playing maybe close to 50% of the snaps and doing something.
I mean, if he plays, you figure they're going to use him at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, you would think this would be the best chance for Jamal Williams to do something when no Kamara and Kendrick Miller has been limited also by hamstring. But it's just a terrible matchup. So yeah, go for the upside. Go for Tony if you have to. We got some more super chats lined up. First, a couple of the regulars. We can knock these out quickly, I think. King of You 92. Give up Cup to get Garrett Wilson.
Yes, 100%. Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
I agree. Definitely do that. DH. Okay to start Musgrave.
I mean, like, I wouldn't want to, but I mean, if like I don't like, there's got to be someone better. I hope that you could start this week, but maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, look, the path is there. Romeo Dobbs, isn't he dealing with like his own hamstring injury or something? So,
yep.
If he's out, you're looking at Christian Watson, a rookie wide receiver, Jaden Reed, who I do like, but again, we're talking about a rookie wide receiver. And then Luke Musgrave basically is the main pass catcher. So I think okay is the right word. Like, you're desperate, he's okay.
Yeah, it depends on your other options, of course. You might have somebody better available. Don't know. I mean, if your choice is Luke Musgrave or picking up Noah Gray, which way would you go?
Gray. I would go with Gray.
Okay. So there you go. So there probably is another option. I highly doubt anybody has Noah Gray rostered unless they have Kelce already. I'm guessing you're asking because you have Travis Kelce. So, I mean, it wouldn't shock me if Musgrave did something. Like I said, if Dobbs doesn't play, which is very possible, it sounds like. I mean, you never know, but you never know. And then I just want to throw this one up real quick. Jon Snow, Kelsey's done. Eagles going to win the Super Bowl. Done. Check. End of story. All right.
Okay.
Moving on. Clearly got an Eagles fan there.
Yes.
All right. So the next super chat here. Sorry, I got to scroll to get it. There we go. Humberto, welcome back. The person I'm playing has Kelce and Cup, not Taylor. Well, that's not good for them. I don't know if you have...
So They have 2 of those guys. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be rough week 1 for them for sure.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, it's still early. If those guys miss and you just take the L week 1, I mean, week 1 is just 1 week, right? Might have lost
Exactly.
anyways, even with those guys. You don't know.
I've lost week 1 many times and been just fine.
Yeah, even if you think, oh man, my team is stacked, I'm gonna roll, and then you lose by 20 in week 1. But then it's okay. It's okay because it's just 1 week. Miguel Perez Jr. Do I trade Ramondre and Watson for Ingram and Cooper?
No way.
Even if you have
No way.
Kelce? No.
No way. No way. No way. No chance. I don't even know how to expand on that other than just say no way, no chance. No.
Yeah. There's no reason.
I wish I had one day when we have our own production team handling our lives, they're gonna throw up the Michael Scott that no, God, no. They're gonna throw up that gif for this
That's
one.
what we need. We need some reaction gifts. Exactly.
Yes.
That's what we need. Something. Yeah. This is a hard no.
Yes.
All right. Juice 420 with another one. 14 team PPR. All right, let's rate this team. T-Law, CMC and Stevenson, Diggs, Sun God, Hawk, London.
Wait. This is a 14 team?
I
don't need stacked. I mean, stacked. How do you get how in a 14 team league do you get CMC, Diggs, and Sun God and then still get how does that happen? You can't even do that in most 12-team leagues. You can't get CMC, Diggs, and you can't get CMC and Diggs, and even most 10-team leagues, you can't get CMC and Diggs. How did you do this?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Was Diggs a late second-round pick?
I mean, it's a 14-team league. If you took CMC and say it the 5, that means Diggs was pick what? 20 or something?
Maybe,
yeah.
I don't know. There must be something going on. Maybe there's a keeper thing or something. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something. This team is stacked. I don't even need to see your bench. This team is stacked.
No.
This team is stacked in a 12-team league. This team is stacked.
Yeah.
This team is stacked in a 10-team league. This team is stacked. Yeah. Good job. Very good job.
Yeah. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure how that happened. So, yeah. All right. Not a super chat, but we have the weather beast in the house.
What's up, Keith?
All right. So, how much fab are you dropping on Noah Gray if he's available? Oh, in the fishbowl. Okay. Man, I got to check the waivers on the fishbowl. So, fishbowl is a tight end premium league. So, this applies to anybody who happens to play in a league that's tight end premium, meaning you get 1.5 point per reception. Now, do we count on Noah Gray getting several receptions? To me, he's just a guy who might get 3 or 4, and we're still hoping for a touchdown. So even if it's 2 points per reception, I know you get points per first down, all that, but still, I'm not going personally, unless I'm the Kelce owner and I'm kind of just really thin on tight end, I don't have any bench options, then maybe I'll go 10% on my fab. Otherwise, I think that's my limit. I think that's my limit, 10%. That's because it's a tight end premium. I mean, you don't want to spend, a good chunk of your fab on a guy who might contribute for 1 week and that's it, right? That's the problem.
Yeah.
So, cannot overreact to that. All right. Good question, though. Oh, yeah. Well, do we want to see more? I don't know why you would do this anyways. Here we have more doghouse material here. You told your wife to draft JT number 1 overall. That was already bad advice from the jump.
That is your fault.
That's clearly, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. George, what's up, George? Would you try and trade someone like Waddle for Kelce? Okay, so let's think about maybe buy low opportunity. Oh, I don't want to say that's low, but you know what I'm saying. A second-round guy for a first-round guy. What caliber of player would you not trade for?
I certainly wouldn't trade maybe Waddle is right at that. Maybe Waddle is kind of right around that cutoff. Obviously, assuming tomorrow let's say the swelling goes down or enough, and they say, hey, it's just a hyperextended knee. We're expecting like a 2 to 3 week absence, and then I'll be fine. Like I would not trade like Sun God, Garrett Wilson, AJ Brown, Diggs, CD, guys like that. So probably like Waddle, Devonta Smith. Of course, it would come down to how you're wide. Like if you have good wide receivers, you went wide receiver heavy. So you have guys, like sitting on your bench, like Christian Kirks, George Pickens, guys like that, who you feel fairly good about. Like, hey, I'll just plug him in and I won't miss too much, and I get like the best tight end. Then I think that's fine. Because that's probably about where I would draft him. Like if in my draft tonight I'm staring at Kelce and I won't be staring at Kelce and Waddle because I might be staring at Kelce, but not Waddle because I picked 10th. But like if I didn't pick 10th, and let's say I was in like the middle of the second round or whatever, and Waddle or Kelce were on the board, that's probably where I'd be debating, like, okay, do I pull the trigger on Kelce or do I just go with Waddle? So I think that's probably about right.
I mean, with Kupp, with Kelce, guys like this, you're taking a calculated risk here because we still have no idea if it's serious, how serious. I feel better about Kelce than Kupp, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, very well could trade your stud receiver like Waddle, and then tomorrow find out, yeah, Kelsey's going to miss 4 games. You won't be feeling so great about that. Now, long term, end of season, you're like, okay, well, Kelsey's back and he's fine. But still, Waddle might still outproduce him this season. So I'm going to go, if I'm going to trade for Kelce right now, I'm going to go a little bit lower because, again, if the idea is you're trying to trade and like kind of buy low, it has to be low, right? This is what you always said. And you actually have to buy low. And to me, it's not quite low enough because you're still talking about an elite receiver. So just because it wasn't a first round pick, I still need to go lower. So maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like third round type of guy, I guess. I mean, probably somebody's not doing that, like a Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper type, but that's what you try. And if not, oh, well, you hold Jalen Waddle and you're okay. Miguel. Another one says, I have CMC and Pollard, Waddle, Lockett, Mike Will, and JK2. I think this goes back to the other one. Let me see if I can go back to that previous chat. Okay. So he's clarifying because, it really doesn't matter who you have. You're not trading Ramondre and Watson for Ingram and Cooper.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
No. It doesn't matter because that trade is so bad for you. It's so bad for you.
Mark Cleveland. Trade Pollard and Debo for CMC and Mitchell.
Pollard and Debo for CMC and Mitchell. No, it feels like too much to get. I mean, look, you're basically getting CMC and then CMC contingency plan that isn't going to be quite as good as CMC if CMC gets hurt. So, and you're giving up a running back who could potentially, be as good or close to as good as CMC and is still a really good wide receiver. So, no.
No, I mean, it's basically like a 2-for-1. You're giving up a number one running back and a good receiver, at least wide receiver 2 caliber for CMC. Because Mitchell, let's face it, doesn't really have standalone value. And his value is that he plays if CMC doesn't play. So, yeah, I don't think so. I know the temptation to get CMC is a lot, but I think it's a little too much. If you got somebody different than Mitchell, that might make it more interesting. Somebody who has more upside. But nah, I wouldn't do it.
No.
What is up, AB? Thoughts on Kendre Miller?
As a league winner, is that what the LW? Like the path for him being a league winner is like probably going to need Kamara and Jamal Williams to get hurt, and then at the end of the season, it's like, well, we only have Kendre Miller left, and then he goes out there and plays well. It's kind of trending towards potentially being a lost year for Kendre Miller. Just didn't get a lot of time coming off that MCL sprain in the college playoffs last year, and then The first game of the preseason, re-injures the knee, and the next game of the preseason aggravates the hamstring. Like, it's looking like it might be one of those things like where we're looking at Kendra Miller potentially next year.
Yeah, I mean, a very talented runner and looked like he might be in a great position. But yeah, just too many injuries right now. Looks like it's not happening. You can stash him still. I'm not saying give up on him completely, but yeah, he's definitely less appealing than he looked several weeks ago. So I don't think we can put him in the league winning discussion right now.
No.
Big Luscious wants to know trade Cup owner Van Jefferson for a number 2-3 receiver like Elijah Moore. Like looking to
Yeah.
flip
I mean,
Van? Sure.
I would rather gamble on Elijah Moore. I mean, I like Van Jefferson, but if Cup eventually comes back, even if Cup doesn't come back healthy, like, what are we really expecting from Van Jefferson? Look, maybe Elijah Moore just is going to be a bust, and it's just the way it is. But I'd rather gamble on the talent and the potential in that offense than Van Jefferson. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, realistically, even if Cup doesn't play a single game this season, is Van Jefferson going to be all of a sudden this huge stud receiver? Like, no, he is what he is. He might have his best season, but I think I still like Elijah Moore better.
Yeah.
And for me, a lot of that just comes down to I'd rather have the receiver attached to Deshaun Watson than
Yes.
Matt Stafford these days. A couple of regular chats here, and we'll go to Alan because he's all the way in Brazil. So, do you like Deontay Johnson or DJ Moore?
I don't know if this is first season or week one, but I guess it doesn't matter. I like DJ Moore season and week one. I know DJ Moore, tough matchup, but Deontay Johnson also has a tough matchup this week. So I'm going to go DJ Moore in week one and for the whole season.
Same with me. Like DJ Moore for sure. And then Sarp. Welcome back, Sarp. Speaking of Dolphins bias, he wants to start Tua over Herbert. Look,
Ooh.
even I can't do that. No, can't do it.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
No. Sorry, cannot do it. All right, let's go down here. Yeah. All right, Big Luscious again. Third draft tomorrow. Okay, so we did talk about this at the very top. So again, anybody who missed, you weren't with us the first segment of this show. We did talk about the whole Travis Kelce thing. So round 2, I think for sure.
I think so. I think he's going to fall to the second now. It's just how people are. They're like, oh my gosh, he's hurt. I can't draft him. Right? That's basically that's the process. Oh my gosh, he's hurt. I can't draft him. Wouldn't even surprise me if he falls to the 3 in some leagues. I mean, look, we're seeing JT in the 9th, Cup in the 5th, 6th. Don't be surprised if Kelce's still there in the 3rd.
It's just so hard right now. I mean, you hate this because this is like if you're about to draft, like, what do I do? Because you don't know. You really don't. You're rolling the dice. I wouldn't let him drop too far because it doesn't sound like it's. I mean, they did say ACL is intact. Okay, so we can at least rule that out. And it's so tough. But yeah, I think late round 2 for now is still reasonable. All right, and then Jacob, trying to see. I see the super chat, which we appreciate. Thank you. Oh, here we go. I guess this is your separate question. Okay. Thoughts about Joe Burrow? Have Jared Goff as a backup? Do I leave Burrow in?
Yeah,
for this week.
He's gonna play. I know there was that report earlier in the week where Zach Taylor was like, I can't say for sure he's gonna play, and then like day later it was like he's trending towards playing. Like, yeah, because he's playing. he's playing. Yeah.
And I read his mobility is all fine and good, no problems. Don't worry about Joe Burrow. And you can think, well, Goff against the Chiefs. Yeah, Goff might be a solid starter if you don't have Joe Burrow. Like, if you have Joe Burrow, you don't bench Joe Burrow. I mean,
no,
you don't take the chance.
No.
Yeah, leave Burrow in there. Hadoush, 12-man league. Got Kirk, Henry, Stevenson, Lamb, Ridley, Pitts, Evans. And on the bench, Geno, Khalil Herbert, Pickens, OBJ, Dobbs, Kincaid, and Musgrave. Okay, so he's wondering, Geno or Kirk in week 1?
I go Geno in week 1. I think, talked about it, Geno at home against the Rams defense should have a great game. Kirk against the Bucks. I mean, he's at home too, which is nice, but like the Bucks still do have a pretty good defense. I think Kirk will be fine. Like I don't think Kirk is going to bust or anything like that. I just think Geno has more upside this week in this matchup. You know, at home, Rams defense terrible. I'm going Geno this week.
Yeah, I'm going Geno too. That Rams defense, as we've been saying, a shell of its former self.
Yeah.
Just wait till Aaron Donald gets traded. Then it'll be, just time to feast. Just like that'll be a defense you want to stream against.
Yes.
So for now, Geno solid. Look, Kirk Cousins could put up numbers. He can always put up numbers at any given time. I worry though, because that's one of those teams you feel like with the Vikings, like they can always give up a lot of points and score a lot of points. That kind of what they did last year, right? They always wound up winning by like 2 points at the last minute, but like a shootout. This might be a low scoring game though. I feel like with Tampa's still decent defense and they're not as good offense. I don't know. I just don't feel a huge Kirk week. So I think Geno, I'd go with Geno too. And then we got CJ. Okay, so he's asking season long, who scores the most points this year between the rookies, JSN or Quentin Johnston?
I got to go with JSN. He's just a better prospect. I mean, they're both in a situation where the team already has 2 established pass catchers, so you can't really say Johnston has the clear path because he's got to compete with Keenan, Mike Williams, and Austin Eckler, honestly. So I think JSN outscores Johnston this year.
And one thing that kind of not big news or anything, but did raise a couple eyebrows. People just assume because he's a first-round pick, Johnson would all of a sudden, be a starter, trying to push Mike Williams or Keenan Allen out. He's not even a starter. He's like number 4 on the depth chart. Josh Palmer apparently is still ahead of him. Now, that might be more just because he's a rookie and he's really young and, he's not the most polished of the rookie receivers. This is a guy who's a little bit more athleticism over technique. So it'll just take him some time. But for that reason, and like you said, I mean, both of these guys are competing with 2 really good receivers, right? On their own team. But yeah, I think it's definitely JSN because of the situation. I just think he's on the field more and he gets more targets. And then Robert Cuellar, the question down here. 12-team PPR. Week 1, Ingram or Higbee?
I think I'm Higbee over Ingram now, assuming, of course, that Kupp is out. Ingram, not the best matchup. Ingram, not the best matchup this week. I think it's going to be the Calvin Ridley show. And look, the thing, when you look at, like, you even look at Higbee last year down the stretch with Baker, he's pretty good. The Rams were hardly throwing the ball with Baker. They're going to throw the ball with Stafford. They're going to throw the ball, and they're probably going to have to throw the ball because they're probably going to be losing. So this week, I'm going Higbee.
Yeah, I think I am too. Again, assuming Kupp doesn't play, which he's unlikely to play. So, yeah, and Ingram, I don't feel like it's a huge Ingram week necessarily, even though it's a weak defense. I don't think it's weak against the tight end specifically as much as it is against wideouts and, running game. So I'm just not feeling a big Ingram week. Higbee, I think, has just higher ceiling. So I would go Higbee. And you're right. I mean, basically, you're saying he's going to get lots more looks. That's true. He will. And you are back in the house going spicy. Cade Otton, sleeper for tight end. We have not talked at all about Cade Otton, I don't think. I mean, Mike Evans didn't get traded. He's still there, right?
He's still there, but I mean, look, nobody's really talked about Cade Otton that I know of, but he's still there. He's the tight end. I mean, it's Baker Mayfield. Maybe.
I mean, he is interesting, but you got to realize he was a lot more interesting when Tom Brady was a quarterback. I mean, everybody there was, but yeah, I just keep saying it. I really don't want part of this passing offense as long as Baker Mayfield's a quarterback. I don't. We've seen what he does. He's kind of fantasy poison to wide receivers, and I don't think tight end is going to be much better. So, yeah, sorry. Week 1, not feeling it. The matchup is there. I mean, on paper, the matchup is good, but you got to have the quarterback to get the ball to the tight end. All right. So, you remember Christopher Laborde yesterday, several super chats. So he's got like 28 teams, which I commend him for,
Yes.
something like that. All right, so now with all of that, he's putting us to the test. We're gonna have to earn it this time. Name 3 players who are gonna smash at ADP.
Rashad White, Jordan Addison, Khalil Herbert.
All right, that was easy. Now I will say we kind of have done this, right? When we say league winners, a lot of videos say league winners.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious Justin Jefferson's gonna be a guy who could help you win your league, but that's not what we mean, right? Not the first or the second round picks or like Pat Mahomes or guys like that. Guys who can help win because you have that advantage by getting the mid to late round picks. So let's see. If I'm only picking 3, and again, smash ADP, meaning they're lower down, I'll go with I'm not going to back down now. I'll go Brian Robinson. I really like him at running back. Zay Flowers, I truly believe, number 1 receiver in Baltimore, but also going to be the top rookie receiver. And we know rookie receivers usually do pretty well. And then for number 3, I'll go with Tank. You know I like Tank. I'll stick with it.
All right.
Tank Bigsby. All right. And now Marcos Alvarado. Will Kelce be out? Don't know. Is Irv Smith streamable if he's out?
I think I can answer the first question fairly easily. Yes. I mean, look, I don't know. They haven't officially ruled him out, but again, the game is in 2 nights. Like, it would have to be a massive recovery for him to be out there. And like you said in the beginning, why risk it? Why risk it? Why throw him out there if he's not 100%? You're not playing for week 1 if you're the Chiefs. Is Irv Smith streamable? I guess. I mean, like, a lot of tight ends are streamable because it's like, can tight end X score a touchdown? Yes. Okay, he's streamable. That's kind of what it comes down to. Could Irv Smith score a touchdown in this offense? Of course. Of course. Do I want to stream him? Not really. I would hope there are better options.
I mean, he is streamable, but he's not the first option, put it that way. But let's kind of follow up on, and this is from Nemesis Breaks. Got in late. All is very well. Thank you. Last minute sub recommendations for Kelce if he misses. So let's just kind of break it down for anybody who wasn't here at the very beginning. We've been on almost an hour, and we did talk about the Kelce situation for a while. So you can always go back and rewind after that. But let's just give a few guys, maybe in order, your favorite possible tight end streamers, assuming that these guys might be out there.
Yeah, I mean, I would start by saying if Higbee or Juwan Johnson are still on the waiver wire, they'd be my top 2.
Yep.
I think Cole Kmet is okay as an option. I think once you get past that, I'm probably just defaulting to Noah Gray, honestly. Like the Musgraves, the Kincaids, the Laportas, the Irv Smiths, these guys, I'd rather just roll with Noah Gray and hope he's somewhat involved, maybe catches a touchdown.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with the rookie. One guy who I am now a little bit more interested in, and I think, even though it's not a great matchup for week 1, still could be a sneaky streamer, is Tyler Conklin for the Jets.
Yeah.
Because Jets are pretty thin at receiver themselves, right? You got Garrett Wilson, of course. You know, Lazard is there. Randall Cobb is there. I mean, there's really not much else, honestly. McCole Hardman has struggled in camp, looked bad. Corey Davis quit. I mean, they really don't have a lot, you know. So, and we know Randall Cobb's just there, just like to be his buddy. Conklin is a guy who might get a surprising number of targets. And look, against Buffalo, they might need another option because they're going to try to take Garrett Wilson out of the game. So, anyways, Conklin's kind of a sneaky guy. I'm not saying I expect a huge game in week 1, but he's just, to me, he's interesting. And then maybe Jake Ferguson, another kind of deeper sleeper, if you don't want to go Noah Gray. So those are all some possibilities.
I don't mind Jake Ferguson, actually, now you mention him.
Yeah, the Giants defense is good, not great. Demon Slayer 25, one of the best animes out there. 10-team half PPR league. Herbert, Stevenson, Rashad White, Chase Lamb, Kittle, Cooper at the flex for a 10-team league. What are your thoughts?
I mean, your wide receivers are phenomenal. Having Amari Cooper as your flex is great. And then you still got Kittle at tight end. You got Justin Herbert. You still got Stevenson, again, who I still consider an RB1. And you got Rashad White. So great team. Should definitely contend this year. No problem. Great team.
Yep. And Rashad White is your RB2. Totally fine when you have 3 stud receivers and one of the better tight ends in the league. And you've got Herbert. So I think this is a great team. Cerulean Dog is back in the house. And he wants to know, well, he's just telling us his team. So I guess let's see what our thoughts are. 1 RB, 1 flex. Okay. Sanders, White, Robinson, Pittman, Burks, Sky Moore, and Addison. 1 RB is...
I still got to go Rashad White over Brian. I was doing Brian Robinson. So I'm going to go Rashad White in my running back. Now I'm debating. It might be too crazy. Like, am I putting Sky Moore in over Brian Robinson with Kelce out? Or is that just that's probably getting a little too crazy. I think I go White and Robinson.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I mean, to me, it's really close. White, Robinson are neck to neck. I like them both this week. Why not both, right? Sky Moore would be the other guy you consider. It would have to be a full PPR. I don't think he said if it was a full PPR anywhere else. Sky Moore is interesting, but yeah, I'm just going to keep White and Robinson in too. I think that's your best bet. And then we have Michael Kobus. Thank you. Appreciate the super chat. So let's go through the 12-team full PPR league. Got Hurts, Waddle, London, James Cook and Akers, Kelce and Andrews.
Wow.
That turned out good. Interesting. All right. Kelce and Andrews, Addison, Johnston, Shaheed, Sharp, Harris, and Hodgins. Should you pick up a tight end off the wire or fill Andrews at TE and put a bench in my flex? Well, you got Andrews.
I mean, you're putting Andrews at tight end. Like, I would just start.
So who are we flexing is the question.
You know, I kind of sneakily like Charbonnet this week. Again,
Really?
I think at home, he'll be involved enough. It's that terrible Rams defense. But I think I probably flex Addison. I'm assuming Addison is on your bench because he's after the 2 tight ends. So I think I still flex Addison because it is full PPR, even though Sharp will catch some passes. But, I mean, he's going to catch dump offs and stuff like that. So I move Andrews to tight end, and then I put Addison in my flex. Although Shaheed is interesting, too, because that Titans – I talked about it. That Titans pass defense is awful. And I think Derek Carr, first game at home, new team. We're going to see like that really good Derek Carr, and everybody's going to be like, oh, the Saints got to steal.
Shaheed is interesting to me. That's exactly what I was thinking. I wish I could say Shaheed. He's been a little bit banged up in practice. He's a guy who depends on his speed, and he's just going to be boom bust, right? He's going to be all or nothing. So if hypothetically, Michael Thomas actually plays and is healthy, Shaheed just might not get enough targets, right? But that Tennessee defense is pure funnel defense. Like maybe they try to change that this year. I don't know if they have the personnel to do it. So Shaheed is interesting, but I don't know if I can roll him out this week despite the matchup. So if it were my team, I'd just put Addison in there.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine there's a tight end that is available on waivers that you would want over him that's on the wire unless it's Higbee, but probably not. Got Big Luscious again. This time, only running backs are Tony Pollard, Rashad White, and Damien Harris. Is it worth trading away Quentin Johnson for someone like Jamal Williams, or is it pointless?
I think it's pretty pointless. I'd rather wait on Johnson, hope he has like a second half breakout, post bye type breakout. Look, you got Tony Pollard, you got Rashad White, you got Damien Harris. They can get you by. Work the waiver wire. Like I say, by week 3, 4, 5, there are going to be RB2s popping up on the waiver wire almost every single week. That worst case you can stream, right? You can be like, well, this guy might only play for 1 week, but he has a pretty good matchup, so I can play him this week. You know what I mean? So I'd rather, like, because Jamal, like, just never, like, how is Jamal going to be any better than he was last year? 1,000 yards and 17 touchdowns. He's not.
No.
And he still wasn't that good last year. Like, sure, for where you drafted him, he was pretty good, but he still had many weeks where he didn't do, like, he'd score a touchdown and get you 10. You know what I mean? Like, so I'd rather gamble on Johnston potentially being a breakout rookie than Jamal Williams.
Yeah, and I'm not crazy about QJ in a redraft league. I'm not drafting him this year because I don't expect too much other than the occasional big play. But yeah, if you're going to do that, I think it is worth trading away Johnston for a running back, just not that running back. Like, I'd rather get somebody with more upside, like a Pacheco or something like that. And you say, okay, well, no one's going to give up Pacheco for Quentin Johnson, but get somebody similar. Like, I'm trying to think if there's somebody like that, like maybe in a Shane. Shane would make sense. I would rather have him because you got more potential there. So, and then sandwiched in between a couple super chats, which we'll get to, guys. Again, reminder: first of all, if you did drop a super chat, thank you. If you did in the last 10 minutes or so, we're getting to your questions. Still catching up. But first, let's go to Ryan Torres. Thoughts on Alvin Kamara after the suspension?
My thoughts on Alvin Kamara after the suspension is people are going to be very disappointed in Alvin Kamara. I don't know. Like, look, I get it. I used to have his jersey back here, right? He won me a championship when he scored 6 touchdowns in week 17, and I got a little jersey for my dog, and it was great. But that Alvin Kamara is gone. He's gone, and people don't want to accept it. They just don't. And it's like, okay. Like, I remember last year, I made a thumbnail with Zeke turning into dust. You know how many comments I got from people saying you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about? All the signs are there that Alvin Kamara is a shell of his former self. He's fine. Like, he'll have some moments, he'll have some games like he did last year, but this is like, the path is even harder for him this year. They brought in Jamal Williams. Maybe at some point Kendrick Miller gets healthy and starts getting involved. My thoughts are I have not drafted Alvin Kamara anywhere, and I don't think I'm going to regret not drafting Alvin Kamara anywhere.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I'm trying to think of all the leagues I have, including Dynasty, and of all the best ball drafts I've done, I think I might have one best ball league. I was like, what the hell, I'll take Kamara. And I'm talking between all my leagues and best ball, I'm talking like maybe 40 to 50 drafts I've done. I've won, probably one. So yeah, my thoughts are I'm not worried about it because I'm not going to have them.
Yeah.
South Sea 77. Start 3 of these guys. At running back, we got White, Pierce, Madison, Pacheco, or Addison.
Does Pacheco become a little more interesting with Kelce out, or am I like reaching there?
A little, like I said, to me, I think McKinnon becomes more interesting because Pacheco's not really the pass catching back.
No.
A little
I
bit.
think White and Pierce are the musts. Man. And then it's like, oh geez.
Well, here's the problem: is Pacheco has potentially Jerick McKinnon and CEH, right? He was running with the ones at some point in training camp. He's fending with those guys for touches. Madison, it's like it's going to be all him, isn't it?
I mean, sure, it's going to be all average Alexander Madison against a great Bucs defense. Like, that doesn't really excite me. I don't know. My gut is telling me Pacheco. Like I feel like Pacheco Because here's the thing: what do they normally do? They get near the goal line, they dial up 3 passes from Mahomes, and he finds Kelce for a touchdown. Well, he's not gonna be able to do that this week. I mean, they'll probably still call his number and he'll find somebody else. But maybe they say, "Hey, Kelce's out. We get near the goal line. Let's just give it to Pacheco and let him pound it in this week." I don't know. I just don't like Madison at all this week going against that Bucs defense. He's not like the kind of running back where I feel like, hey, it's a bad matchup, but he's so good, I don't care. It's like, it's a bad matchup. He might average 3 yards per carry. Like, he might get 15 carries and not even get you 50 yards. I think if it's my team, I'm going Pacheco. I'm just gambling on that touchdown.
Not a great matchup, but I'm leaning toward the volume here. I'm going to go White Pierce Madison if it's my team. It's close, but I'll give the slight edge to Madison. And then Kevin Hughes in a 10-team, is that 0.8 PPR league? That's interesting.
0.8 PPR, okay.
Why? Okay. Should I trade AJ Brown for Kelce?
No, that's too high. No. Because I don't even know, like, before the injury, I'd probably take Kelce over AJ Brown, but that's like right at that point where it's like Kelce, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, they're all kind of right there. So I don't feel like that's enough of an upgrade.
No. I mean, earlier we had a question about Waddle for Kelce, and it's like, even that I don't think I would do. I think if you're going to buy low on Kelce, you actually have to buy low. Now, obviously, you're not going to go that low. Like, no one's giving him away for nothing, but still. Now, AJ Brown, he's a first rounder just like Kelce is. So, no.
Yeah.
Or like Kelce was. Miguel Cordovez in a PPR 3 receiver 2 flex league. We got Deshaun Watson, Bijan, James Cook, Garrett Wilson, Olave, and Ridley. Very nice. Okonkwo, but then Christian Watson and London. Nice. Okay. The bench is Herbert, Charbonnet, Gibson, Mitchell, Algier, Warren, and Mingo. Thoughts?
Almost an all running back bench, which isn't a bad strategy when your wide receivers are Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Calvin Ridley, Christian Watson, and Drake London. You don't really need wide receivers on your bench with those guys. This is a great team. I mean, your Christian Watson and Drake London, your flexes every week, and if you still have running backs like Khalil Herbert, Charbonnet, Gibson, Mitchell, Algier, Warren on your bench, you got Bijan, you got Deshaun. This is a great team. Well done, Miguel.
Yeah, it doesn't matter too much who your tight end is. Maybe there's somebody out there who has more upside. You can go out and look, but yeah, this is smart. When you're going true hero RB, you got a bunch of bench running backs that you could, maybe put in there, guys who have upside. So this is very smart drafting. This looks like this looks like a U team. This looks like a very Chris team.
It does. It does very much. Right. You show me this team, I'm gonna love it. Like, guaranteed.
You love it. I love it too. That's good. And then Christopher Laborde, and then Juwan Johnson, top 5 tight end.
Well, here's the thing. Top 5, saying somebody's a top 5 tight end isn't as great as we think it is. It's like 11, 10 points per game in PPR. Literally. Just go back and look year after year. It's like 11 points per game, and you're a top 5 tight end. So being a top 5 tight end isn't quite as great as it sounds. It's not like a top 5 running back or wide receiver or something. Still a little spicy for me, though. I like Juwan. I think he'll be good. Kind of think maybe like how Njoku was last year. That kind of guy. But I don't know. Top 5, probably too high.
Yeah, even I wouldn't go top 5. And, I've been talking up Juwan Johnson, especially lately. I think he was one of my guys, right? But no, not top 5 tight end. Can't go that high. And which prompted Brian, our pal Brian, who's not too far from me here, San Antonio. What's with the sudden love for Juwan? Is it just because there's no other quarterback? Well, with Hill being a quarterback, no, it has nothing to do with that. That just came out, I think, today or yesterday, right? That I don't know if you saw Taysom Hill. They're listing him as a quarterback, not a tight end. Well, that doesn't really matter. He doesn't really play anything. He plays everything. But no, I think Juwan Johnson, the intrigue behind him is that he already was a pretty solid red zone threat last year. And, this is a team now that got an upgraded quarterback. And so you have somebody who has a history of throwing to the tight end, but also I think they plan to use him a lot because as soon as Michael Thomas's toe falls off, then they're going to need that tight end to get a lot of targets.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the thing. Like right now, you might look at it and say like, well, they have Michael Thomas, they have Chris Olave, they have Shaheed, but how long are they going to have Michael Thomas for? And look, I like Shaheed, but Shaheed's not like a target hog kind of guy.
No.
So, yeah, I think Juwan will be a nice red zone threat. Which, look, at tight end, like I said, like not everybody can be Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews or these guys or that catch 6-7 passes. Like most of them need touchdowns, and he'll be that.
And then to follow up on that, I guess we have to address this. Boiler Navy. Is Taysom Hill now intriguing if he qualifies at tight end?
Not this week. Look, Taysom Hill can always like do whatever, like, but this doesn't seem like the week. Like week 1 with Derek Carr at home against a pass funnel defense. I don't see the Saints, giving Taysom Hill 10 carries this week. Like this feels like a week where they let Derek Carr throw it 35 times, go for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and show everybody, look, that's why we got Derek Carr. So yeah, not starting Taysom Hill this week.
Well, and especially if Michael Thomas does play, like they're not going to need Taysom Hill to go out there and run a bunch of routes. So, sorry, passing on Taysom Hill. George Dominguez, PPR needs 2 running backs. Got Kenny Walker, Rachaad White, J.K. Dobbins. Tough.
I love Rachaad White, but I think you got to bench him out of this group. I mean, I talked about it. You got to give me a really good, compelling reason to bench J.K. Dobbins this week going against the worst run defense in the league at home in a game that they're going to more than likely dominate. I feel the same way about Kenneth Walker this week. Like, I do like Charbonnet, but he's like, I don't think his role is going to be big enough to affect Kenneth Walker, especially in this matchup at home against a terrible Rams defense in a game they're going to probably dominate. So as much as I like Rachaad White, I got to bench him for Dobbins and Walker this week.
And I have to agree. I mean, if you watch the running back start sit video that we dropped a couple days ago, I think all 3 of these guys got the green check mark. Like they're solid starts. But only one of these guys made the boom picks like we think could actually just go off. And that would be Dobbins. And then, you gotta like Walker in this matchup. And like White too. It's pretty close, but I'm going Walker. And then Cooper Griffin. Olave for Cup. So the way I'm looking at it, he's got Olave as his wide receiver 3, which is pretty impressive.
That is very impressive. I don't know how people are getting Jefferson and Garrett Wilson. That means Garrett Wilson is falling to the end of the second round in your league. I don't understand that.
And Olave in round 3 and DJ Moore in round 4. I
guess. At the end of round 4. Probably. I don't know. I think I'm still holding Olave. I like Olave a lot this year. Again, with this Cup thing, I mean, I get it. If you have a healthy Cup by like week 4, you might be like, oh man, I could have had Cup as my wide receiver 3, but I think Olave is going to be great. I'm just going to keep Olave and not deal with the Cup headache.
Yeah. Again, at this point, you're not really getting much of a discount here. A guy, like Olave, you don't need to do this. You have 4 stud receivers. Keep that advantage. Like, don't mess with it, right? You know what I mean? Like, why mess with a good thing? You don't need.
Right.
Oh, I need to make a move. No, you don't. You have 4 stud receivers, so keep it the way you have it. And then we know this guy. What's up, Anthony? All right, so I guess this is a you question because he's asking in a league that may or may not involve me. So who would you start at flex? Burks, Pierce, or Dalvin Cook?
Oh, definitely Dameon Pierce for me. I know you look at it, you're like, oh, it's the Ravens, it's on the road. CJ Stroud, they're probably going to be getting blown out, which I agree with all of that. But again, it looks like Pierce is going to play, like be a 3-down back, which means even if they're getting blown out and they're in obvious passing downs, He's not going to play 100% of the snaps, but at least he'll be out there quite a bit on third down. Hopefully, he should be catching some passes, it looks like. Dalvin Cook against the Bills, I'm good. Traylon Burks coming off that injury with D-Hop, and I'm going Pierce.
And not a good matchup on paper. Saints
Right.
actually really tough against receivers.
Yes.
So I love Burks, but not this week. Cook, not this week. Pierce really doesn't have a good matchup either. I mean, he doesn't on the road against Baltimore, but he's going to get the volume. He's going to, always have a chance to rip off a run. So I would say Pierce too, unless you're playing me, in which case definitely go Burks. All right. The Allegre family has a 12-team PPR league, 1 running back, 2 receivers, 1 flex. Got Deshaun, Bijan, Amon-Ra, Ridley, Andrews, and Walker. That's pretty good. Ayuk is on the bench. Kirk is on the bench.
Wow.
Zay, one of the Zays is on the bench, and then Richardson. What do you think?
I mean, this team is great. There's no moves you need to make. I would like a little more running back depth because you don't need Richardson with Deshaun Watson.
There's no running back depth. He only have to start one running back. He literally only has one running back.
Oh yeah, he only needs to start one running back. So that's a smart move. I mean, you only got to start one running back. Why you don't need but I would still probably drop Richardson and pick up a running back. Because look, you only start 2 wide receivers in a flex, and you got Amon-Ra, Ridley, Ayuk, Kirk. I'm assuming that's Zay Flowers. Yeah, I would drop Richardson and just grab a bench running back.
Yeah. Oh, actually, now that I see it, it's Bijan, and I guess he's flexing Walker. So you have 2 running backs, but you have no running backs on the bench.
Right.
Yeah. You don't need Richardson. Yeah.
No.
Just pick up a running back, any running back. If it's Zay Flowers, I hope that's Zay Flowers. Then that's solid. Keep him, keep Kirk, keep Ayuk for sure. It's a really good team. So if it's Zay Jones, drop Zay Jones for running back.
Yeah.
Let's go with Dale's. Start Freiermuth or Higbee.
I can't believe this is where we're at, but I think I'm also going to say Higbee here. Not a great matchup for Freiermuth this week. Now, I wouldn't drop, if Higbee's on your waiver wire and you have Freiermuth, I wouldn't drop Freiermuth just to go get Higbee for this week, because I'm going to prefer Freiermuth significantly the rest of the season. And if you drop Freiermuth, you may not get him back. But if you have both these guys, like maybe you drafted Higbee with your last pick after you drafted Freiermuth, or maybe you got somebody on your bench, you're like, I don't want that guy, I'll just drop him for Higbee. I would go Higbee this week.
Yeah, I don't know if we had this exact question or similar question, but we did talk about Freiermuth yesterday at one point. It's really not a good matchup for him. 49ers, they're a good defense, but they were top 5 against the tight end specifically last year. We know Fred Warner is a stud, and 3rd fewest yards per target to tight ends. Freiermuth is not that kind of guy who's going to one cut and go. He's not Kyle Pitts type, It's not Travis Kelce. So I would go with a guy who I think is going to get more volume and a better matchup. That's Higbee. Big Luscious, cannot get enough. Got another one here. Trade Andrews, DJ Moore, and Harris to get Bijan and Waller.
I think you have to. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I do like I do like Andrews, but I think Waller will at least be like a set and forget tight end. And I do like DJ Moore, but there's a reason why Bijan Robinson is going in the 1st round and DJ Moore is going in the 4th round. And then Damian Harris here doesn't really impact me at all. This is basically Andrews and DJ Moore for Bijan and Waller. I mean, to potentially get a top 1 running back, but at least even a top 3 running back, and still have a good tight end, I think you have to do it. You have to get Bijan and Waller, I think.
Having that one guy who could be that league winner, just lead your team, it's worth it. And again, I'm not big on Waller. I haven't been drafting Waller this whole season, but I know he's still a really solid tight end 1 at the very least, as long as he's healthy. So again, like you said, not a huge drop off necessarily from Andrews. And I love DJ Moore this year, but I like Bijan better. And Damian Harris, it's whatever. He's a throw-in. So I would do this. Yeah, I think that's a smart move. A couple comments not going to put up, but real quick, just to address it, David. In fact, Chris, if you do me a favor, put up the flock. Do we have the flock graphic? Asking
We
about
do not.
the flock, our association with flock. We are part of the flock. Flockfantasy.com/endgame is where you can join the flock, and you can check out our rankings, our draft rankings. If you're still drafting, you can check out articles we've written, bonus videos, all this other stuff that doesn't just get on the YouTube channel. So to answer your question, David, that is it. And Demon Slayer, I am an anime fan. I have way too many shows my daughter has shown to me, so I know way more about it than I ever thought I would. All right. Let's go to Justin Credible. Okay, so this is a fair question. What is Mahomes' upside without Kelce?
It's still there. I don't care. Like, it's not like he throws a touchdown to Kelce every single game. Like like Kelce doesn't score 17 touchdowns. And Mahomes still goes for 25 plus, even when Kelce doesn't score. Like, yes, he can definitely go 25 plus. And don't forget, Mahomes, sneaky rusher. He's not like Hurts or Lamar, those guys, but he's sneaky, and he'll sometimes scramble in touchdowns. He'll find guys. Look, he'll find somebody open and dump it off and get it to them. Yes, he can definitely still go 25 plus without Kelce.
That's actually a very good point, because last year we started seeing they incorporate that more into the playbook. Some design runs for him, some just having him move more when guys are covered, right? They're playing safeties deep, don't want the Chiefs to beat them down the field. Just have Mahomes run and take off. He can do that at key moments. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. I will just say that, look, we don't really know what Mahomes could be like without Kelce for a long stretch, if that happens. But it's not like Kelce has a big game every game. So even if Kelce isn't involved, Mahomes can still do that. I think this is the best answer probably to this.
Yeah. I think I said that. I forget what video I said it, or maybe it was a mock draft where I said, like, or maybe it was a video. I said he could probably still, be awesome if you and I were his wide receivers.
Yep.
Yeah.
I might need gloves, but I could still probably catch maybe one or two of the balls he throws my way.
But the problem is, you catch the pass and then that linebacker hits you. How, like, are you able to even take another snap after that?
It will be the last pass I ever catch. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're going across the middle, you catch it, you get laid out. Done.
Yeah. But it would be worth it. Totally would be worth it. Cam Lanza, Dynasty League, thoughts on Fournette. See, I can read fantasy.
Thoughts on Fournette,
shorthand. In Dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, like,
well, I will have to admit there is one Dynasty League where I have him and Zeke on the same roster, and I haven't dropped them yet. Look,
yeah, I wouldn't drop him yet, because look, like we see guys like Latavius Murray last year. When those running back injuries start hitting, teams get desperate.
Yeah,
and maybe they'll bring in Leonard Fournette, and maybe he'll like do a little something. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't want Leonard Fournette on any of my dynasty teams.
No, I mean, if you're asking because he's out there, I wouldn't add him. If you had him, like what I've had him, like, okay, I'm not picking up CEH for him. Evans maybe kind of can fill in. He's interesting. Chandler has some upside, so yeah, maybe
Chandler's kind of interesting.
Yeah, Chandler's interesting. Ben Helms. The team is Fields, Adams, Ridley. Is it?
Gonna assume Bijan.
Probably Bijan, giving the order that you put him. Okay, then Mixon, Higbee, and it is a 10-man league. So yeah, so Bijan, Mixon, Higbee, Flex and DJ Moore on the bench. Watson in London, nice. Herbert, Monty, and Penny. All right, what do you think?
I mean, great team. Like, no changes. I mean, Adams, Ridley, Bijan, Mixon. I mean, okay, I don't love Mixon as RB2 or whatever, but it's fine. But even still, I mean, even if he's terrible this year or gets hurt, you got Herbert, you got Monty. Maybe Penny does something. You got DJ Moore in your flex, and then you got Christian Watson and Drake London just chilling on your bench. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, I mean, you got Watson and London on the bench. I would have, like again, there's a lot of people who are still on Mixon. I'm not either, but I would prefer somebody different, but it's not going to kill you. It's a 10-man league. I would say after week 1, if Penny isn't seriously involved in terms of snap share, then I would ditch him. Especially a 10-man league, you probably don't even need to hold on to him. But yeah, wait and see what happens week 1, and then drop him. All right, we got the Demon Slayer back again. All right, there's that he super chatted that comment, so don't be sorry. We love defense. We don't love defense in fantasy, but we'll answer it. Commanders a smart play. Oh, I see. No, over the Pats. Okay, so Commanders because they play the Cards, or the Pats because they play the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't look. The Pats have an elite defense, no doubt about it. Like they have an elite real life defense, and you're probably going to start them most weeks. But I think this week, just give me the Commanders. Just give me the Commanders against a terrible offense. Starting right now on the depth chart, it is Josh Dobbs or Clayton Tune. I don't care which one it is. Give me the Commanders this week. Most weeks, I'm going to say just start the Pats. But this week, because it's still Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, like even if the Pats are doing well against them, at any moment they can explode. Jalen Hurts can run in 2 touchdowns. I don't even know if the Cardinals can get 10 points this week, to be honest with you. So give me the Commanders.
Yeah, with team defense, opponent really matters a lot more than any other position. You typically would prefer a decent to good defense versus a terrible offense, as opposed to even an elite defense. Again, a tough matchup. So Commanders for sure.
Yeah. And Commanders
And
have a good
then,
defense. It's not like they have a bad defense.
and the Commanders are a good defense. Yeah. No, exactly. They're like top 10. Christopher saying, Chris, you are sleeping on Kamara, and he's going to explain why I'm a diehard Saints fan. Okay, well, then there you go. That explanation made. But okay. He's saying that last year defenses would stack the box because we didn't have a QB. So he thinks it's going to be different with Carr. What do you think? Does that sway you?
No, doesn't sway me because I've seen all the metrics that say Kamara is dust. The things like yards per touch, breakaway run rate, elusiveness, broken tackles, all the things that aren't contingent on the QB and the offensive line, the things that he used to excel in that he no longer excels in. And look, and he's over. Like I talk about this a lot. He's over the 1,500 touch mark. This is where we see, like, Kamara is not getting better. He's far past that. Running backs don't hit this part of their career and get better. We're never going to see. We've already seen the best Kamara, no doubt about it. Could he be better than last year? Sure, but he's not going to be as good as he was in prime. It's just not. It's not how running backs work. He's only going to get worse. And I don't. Like. It's not like they got Patrick Mahomes. They got Derek Carr. I don't know if teams are going to necessarily. Like, I know you're a Saints fan, so in your mind, Derek Carr is probably like just as good as Patrick Mahomes now. But like I said, I don't know if teams are necessarily going to be like, we can't stack the box anymore.
Yeah, look, of course it's an upgrade because what wouldn't be an upgrade? But yeah, I mean, like you said, his days of being an elite fantasy asset, they're over. I mean, they're just over. And we also can't forget, we don't know exactly how the offense will look with Derek Carr for sure. But you also have to keep in mind a whole lot of Kamara's value was just the fact that he caught a whole lot of dump offs from Drew Brees because that was his game when he was age 40, And the last couple of years, Kamara's been a little less involved. He's been a little less efficient. So it's just kind of trending downward. He's not like he's plummeting off the face of the earth. Like I don't think he's going to hit a massive cliff this year and like just could be complete dust. I think that might be Joe Mixon, like you said, but yeah.
Just real quick on the Alvin Kamara thing real quick. So he was 25th in yards per touch, 49th in juke rate last year. This was one of the most like shiftiest efficient running backs in his prime. 28th in evaded tackles, 48th in breakaway run rates. Only 2% of his runs went for at least 15 yards. This is a guy who that was one of his great things, right? Like once he got past the first level, he could just go. Those are generally signs of an aging running back who, look, Alvin Kamara may have only lost half a step, but in the NFL, half a step is huge. It's huge. So,
Right.
yeah, he'll be fine. But I don't think you're going to look back and be like, I'm happy I drafted Alvin Kamara.
Exactly. All right, let's go to Sal Palumbo, Higbee, Laporta, or Juwan.
Higbee. I do like Juwan this week as well, but Higbee, I mean, got just a clearer path to like 9+ targets.
Yeah,
maybe not. Maybe that's extreme. 7+ targets.
Hey, without Cup, that might be pretty spot on. I mean, but yeah, Juwan a little more touchdown dependent, and Higbee probably in line for more targets. So go with that. Mike Altawheel. Okay, well, here's the Higbee question you didn't expect: Pitts or Higbee?
Oh boy, I still got to go Pitts. I know. People are like, I'm ready to get burned again by Pitts. I'm ready. Bring it on. Go ahead. Let me down. I can't start Higbee over Pitts though.
Nah, this is too far. Look, if you drafted Pitts, you've got to be a believer in Pitts, right? You've got to think he's got that potential in him. And Carolina's decent defense, not a dominant defense. So I wouldn't be scared for any reason to start Pitts. And then, it doesn't hurt. I saw today, I don't know if this is going to linger till Sunday, but Brian Burns, who's their top pass rusher, all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, like a week before the season, he's like, yeah, I'm going to hold out. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, something might get done. He might cave in, whatever. But still, it's not a defense that should scare you from starting Pitts. You got Pitts, you got to start Pitts. And Lockett or Higgins?
Definitely. I mean, look, of course you say, oh, Lockett against the Rams. Lockett could always boom, of course. But I can't bench T. Higgins. Not benching T. Higgins.
No, I mean, I do like Lockett this week, but I'm not sitting a guy like T. Higgins unless I have a really compelling reason to sit T. Higgins. And I don't think I do. Yeah, we do have a lot of loaded teams here somewhere, but yeah. All right, so let's go with just incredible again. Would you rather start Brian Robinson or DeAndre Swift, half PPR?
Got to go Brian Robinson this week. I mean, we just had that defense question. Can't feel great about Swift this week on the road against the Patriots. Can't feel great. Look, maybe he'll do something and we'll be like, oh my gosh. But Brian Robinson at home against the Cardinals. Yeah, give me Brian Robinson over Swift this week.
I like Brian Robinson this week for sure. I like Swift this season, but not this week. Tough matchup. It will actually be really interesting to see because we just not that long ago talked about Rashad Penny. It'll be interesting to see what that backfield breakdown actually looks like. Not what we think it's going to look like, not what they're talking about, not in practice or training camp, but is Kenneth Gainwell actually going to touch the ball like in the red zone, in the 2-minute drill? Is Swift going to be out there first? Is Penny even going to get any run? That's what I'm curious about. Like, is he really even going to be out there? I need to see it first. I think it almost is a relief that Swift has a bad matchup, so I don't have to just put him in my lineup, and roll. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't expect that the Eagles will have to sit back and pass the ball a ton. So they should be able to run the ball, right? You think against New England? So I'm curious, but I'm starting Brian Robinson. All right, let's get to this. This is not a super chat, but really wants to know. Here's another defense question. The Miami defense going against the tough Chargers offense or the Cardinals defense because they go against Washington?
I don't care who the Cardinals defense is playing. Like, I'm not starting the Cardinals defense ever this year.
No.
I don't really want to start the Miami defense this week, but I'm starting them over the Cardinals for sure.
I remember at one point, maybe it was a couple of years ago, it looked like Arizona might have one of the better young defenses in the league, like draft picks and coming up. And now you should not even think about considering them at all. They're going to be the worst defense in the league. And as soon as they trade Budda Baker, they will officially be the worst defense in the league when that happens. So, yeah, you can't. It doesn't matter who they play. Unless they somehow have like a scrimmage where they play themselves and go against the Cardinals offense, then I might play the Cardinals defense.
Even then, I don't know if I could start them.
Yeah, even then, yeah, you might prefer.
I mean, the Cardinals offense, they got like Marquise Brown, James Conner, Rondo Moore. They might beat that Cardinals defense.
Yeah, they should. They really should. All right. Let's look at some questions of guys we haven't talked about yet. We'll take this one off. No more defense questions for now, which, by the way, guys, just a quick reminder. Now we are caught up on all the super chats. If you do have a question you want to make sure gets answered among all these comments and questions, you can use that super chat feature. That's what it's for. So let's get to another Cooper Kupp trade question.
All right.
Jeff Scott, what about Kupp for Ridley? Get Ridley.
Man, I really like Ridley this year.
It's like right there in the cutoff, huh?
Yep. Again, I think I do it, but I'm probably higher on Ridley than a lot of people. But I think I do it. It's right there. I mean, it's right there because we can't. I mean, even I can't pretend Ridley doesn't have risk. So,
yeah, I know. I'm not as high on Ridley as you are, but I think I'm leaning towards saying yes, take Ridley here because I do see a path for Ridley having his best season. And I'm getting more and more convinced that Trevor Lawrence is going to have a breakout season, like a legit breakout season, like 5,000 yards. So, yeah, I think I would do it. You would have had a hard time convincing me of this earlier, but man, the risk with Kupp, and even if he's out there healthy for 15 games, maybe he still isn't as good as Ridley over those 15 games. I mean, he just might not be as productive. So, yeah, I think I would do this. All right, here's a very interesting one. Shane Sylvia, let's talk about Kelce here. In a tight end premium, not 1.5, but 1.25 points for tight ends. Adams for Kelce.
I think I still go Kelce. Because, I mean, I'm even in like just a regular 1 PPR with no tight end premium, I'm taking Kelce over Adams. And look, it's 1.25. It's not a huge thing, but it still matters. It still helps. If Kelce misses 2-3 weeks, okay. But then when he comes back, you got the better player for the rest of the season, hopefully. And like this isn't like the Kupp injury where it's like he strained his hamstring, and a few weeks later he had a setback, and now he's seeing a specialist, and you think like maybe this is going to linger all year. Right. This is a freak knee thing. He hyperextended it in practice. If there's no structural damage or anything, it's like let it heal, and then once it heals, you're good. You don't have to worry about like just re-aggravating it multiple times throughout the season like we used to see with Christian McCaffrey or whatever. So I'll take Kelce.
Yeah, and even though this isn't 1.5, point per reception, it's still a tight end premium. That makes Kelce just so much more valuable. In this kind of format, he's a top 5 pick.
Yeah,
for sure. And Adams is a guy who, of course, has been the top receiver in the league, but we're not feeling it this year. And that's the thing is, Devontae Adams isn't a first-round pick. He's not that level anymore. So I'm taking Kelce. Yeah, it's easy to say. Right now, we know nothing exactly about Kelce's injury. So, could regret this, but it's not going to be a season ender. I'd take Kelce here, yeah. All right, so let's get to Caleb's super chat. Thank you. We appreciate that. And the flex spot, Watson or London?
I like both these guys this week, but I think I got to go Watson against the Bears. I think he just has more upside than Drake London this week. Especially in my flex. I mean, I'm always chasing upside, but especially in my flex. Like, because if he's your flex, that means you should already have some really good wide receivers who should score a lot of points because you probably drafted them in the first or second round. So having that guy in the flex, if he potentially goes off for 25, 30, you win. You win because your team just went off that week. Whereas like if Drake London gets 15, okay, that's fine, but is that really going to be the difference maker in your matchup? Probably not. So I'm going Christian Watson.
I would already have said Watson, but especially if Romeo Dobbs doesn't play, which looks like a very real possibility, all the other receiver or receiving options, including the tight end, they're all rookies. Jaden Reed, Luke Musgrave, like the Packers don't have a lot of depth. So Watson might be in for an even bigger game. And it's the Bears. That defense should not scare you. So yeah,
No.
I'm definitely going Watson in this matchup. Danny D, okay, so we're looking for a possible stack here, not maybe the kind you envision when you think Chiefs, but here we go. To pair with Mahomes, you prefer MVS, Ross, or Richie James?
Well, can't do Ross. It sounds like he's hardly going to play.
Yeah.
Richie James, like I really don't want to start MVS, but at least MVS we know will probably play almost 100% of the snaps because he's their ex receiver. He has a year with Patrick Mahomes. He didn't do anything over that year, but at least he has a year with him. Maybe he can get behind the defense one time. If I'm going to have to choose one of these guys, I'm unfortunately going to have to choose MVS.
I think so. Look, all of these guys, you're hoping for a touchdown, right? None of these guys are going to come away with just like a huge game. So who's the best chance to get a long touchdown? It's MVS. Look, I would say season long out of these guys, I prefer to have Richie James, but week one, he still has to get that chemistry with Mahomes. And he's been banged up too. So he's had a knee injury in practice. His status for this week is still undetermined as far as I know, unless there was an update. But yeah, let's just go with MVS. If you're going to roll the dice, you might as well go all the way. All right. And then, okay, hold on. Before we get, actually, no, I'll do this first. Okay. Next super chat is AJ Hall. DJ Moore or Sky Moore? How do you like your Moores?
I still got to go with DJ Moore. I know it's the Packers and they have a pretty good secondary, but look, one thing about their secondary is sometimes they just decide they're not going to be very good this week. Like if you remember last year, week one, when the Vikings played the Packers, Justin Jefferson just annihilated them. So then the next time they played, Jair Alexander took it personally, and they triple teamed Justin Jefferson, and Jair Alexander took all the credit for shutting him down, even though they triple teamed him the whole game.
Yep.
But that's the thing. Like this Packers secondary, like Alexander is one of those guys that feels like he picks and chooses when he's gonna like be a stud or not. Like Sky, like I like Sky Moore. Like sure, he's got potential now with Kelce out, but man, that's a lot of risk still. Still a lot of risk. Just give me DJ Moore.
Yeah, I get the temptation here, but go with a guy who's, the legit number one receiver.
Yeah.
Go with DJ Moore. We know what he can bring to the table. Sky Moore, we really don't yet. I mean, he could have a big game. He definitely could, but he's also a lot more target dependent. He's going to need that volume. DJ Moore can get those chunk plays for sure. So yeah, I'm going DJ Moore. All right, so I just can't help it. I'm going to throw up another defense question.
Okay.
Because I think this is interesting. What do you think about starting the Jags defense, which is not really too exciting, but against the rookie Richardson in his first start?
Yeah, I think they're definitely a solid start this week. I mean, look, I like Richardson because of what he can do with his legs, but he's still a rookie QB. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to probably turn the ball over once or twice. He's going to take some sacks. I know this is another reason like it's hard to stream against quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, those guys, and probably Richardson, because they don't take as many sacks because they can get away from them, right? They can run away from them. And it's like, oh, my defense should have had a sack. Instead, he ran for 5 yards. But it's his first start. I think the Jaguars are a solid streaming option this week for sure.
Solid streamer, not my favorite because you do want that defense that has a huge upside. I mean, I don't feel like Richardson's going to complete a ton of passes, but I don't necessarily expect him to throw 3 or 4 interceptions because he's not the kind of guy who's, first of all, going to throw it that much, even if they're losing. They're not going to have him just sit back, and just keep chucking it, right? And then besides that, he's the kind of guy that if he can't find someone open, he'll just take off, right? Yes. He'll run. So I don't feel like he's going to have like a Baker Mayfield 4 interception pick 6 type of game. It'll look ugly on the scoreboard. So unless you have a defensive scoring system where points scored against is like a huge thing, you think, oh, they'll get shut out. Okay, maybe. But otherwise, I'll go with the defense that has a little bit more turnover upside because usually interceptions and fumbles matter more.
Yeah.
So it kind of always depends on your format. But I mean, they're a good but not great option, I would say. And then let's do some public service here. Ice cream headache. Had to step out probably to drink some water or something, get rid of that headache. Kelce replacements for those who weren't here at the top of the show and in the middle of the show. You're going to do a quick recap.
Yeah, what do we say? Like Higbee, Juwan Johnson would be our top 2 if they're available. I think we said like Jake Ferguson, Cole Kmet's okay. I mean, even Noah Gray's not a bad option if you're looking at the tight end waiver wire and it's horrible.
And then if you have to get deep, Noah Gray would be if you have no other choice, replacement for Kelce. I like Conklin is interesting. Not the top choice, but those are the guys.
Yeah, Conklin too.
Depends who's out there. Brian, what's up? Goff, Gino, or Hal against me. Oh, I guess I have to recuse myself here.
I do like Sam Howell this week, but not more than Gino. I got to go with Gino again. I think Gino has a big week this week at home against that Rams horrible defense. Yeah, I think Gino has a big game this week. Goff, I mean, like Goff is interesting, but the thing with Goff is on the road in KC. Goff is always a risk for like just laying a total egg when they're on the road. So I'll just go with Gino. I think he has the most upside and the highest floor.
I'll just leave myself out of this conversation because I don't want to sway you either way, Brian. All right. Let's get to Daniel. Thank you. Appreciate that. So thoughts on the flex? Wow. Those are your flex options? Dobbins or Walker?
Wow. I mean, I like both these guys, but I still got to go Dobbins. I got like neither of these guys are going to be monster pass catchers, so it's not like that's a tie break. I do like Kenneth Walker at home against the Rams, but he's not playing the Texans at home like J.K. Dobbins is. And look, Charbonnet, even though he's a rookie, is better than any other running back on the Ravens. No, all due respect to Gus Edwards. So I'm going Dobbins over Walker.
Yeah, both good options this week. Slightly into Dobbins because of the matchup in his favor. But yeah, I mean, these guys are your flex. You're in a good spot.
Nice.
It's nice. I've got a very spicy trade here.
All right, must be Roberto. Oh no,
it's not. No, Logan.
Oh wow.
Justin Jefferson and Dalton Schultz for Bijan and Mark Andrews. He says his running backs are Hall and Sanders. Wide receivers are Deontay and Olave, aside from those guys. So you're swapping the stud receiver for the stud running back and getting Andrews instead of Schultz. Is that enough?
I mean, Andrews from Schultz to Andrews is a huge difference. That's like a Grand Canyon sized cliff difference. I mean, but I would not feel good about Olave and Deontay as my wide receivers every week. But I also don't feel great about Breece Hall and Miles Sanders as my running backs every week right now. So I think I think you have to do this. I mean, even though I prefer Jefferson to Bijan, you're getting such a big upgrade at tight end. And Bijan, I still think, is going to be like a top 5 or more or higher player by the end of the season. So, yeah, I think you got to take Bijan and Andrews here and try to figure it out at wide receiver.
Yeah, you'd need to definitely have a huge advantage in other areas to trade Jefferson. I think this is it because Bijan, a guy who potentially, whether you think he should be first or not, potentially could be the RB1 in fantasy.
Yep.
Look, with Kelce out, maybe he misses multiple games. Maybe Mark Andrews is the tight end 1 this year again. He did it a couple of years ago. I mean, so who knows? You might get – so you're getting a stud running back and tight end, upgrading at 2 positions. I would do it especially not that it's, the only consideration, but I don't want Brees Hall as my starting running back every week right now. So, yeah, I would do this. What is up? Rise above anything. A-Rod or Derek Carr this week?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going Derek Carr this week. I really think we're going to see a big Derek Carr game going against one of the worst pass defenses at home. He as of right now, he has weapons because Michael Thomas, it's only week 1, he's still healthy. So not really feeling a big Aaron Rodgers game. I know he's at home too, but it's the Bills. Yeah, not feeling a big Aaron Rodgers game. I'm going Derek Carr.
Yeah, to me, it's easily Derek Carr. Good matchup. We talked about it earlier. Tennessee's got that funnel defense going where they like to give up points to the passing game, not the running game. Saints might really have much of a running game this week with just Jamal Williams. So, yeah, definitely going Carr. Honestly, I don't know how many times this year, if any, I'm going to feel a big Aaron Rodgers game at all. That offense. I just am not. I mean, that's just me. But yeah, I'm going Carr. All right, Carlos, persistence pays off. So he's been putting this in the chat. Let's get to it. Carlos Torres, who is a Chargers fan, apparently he's got Justin Herbert in a 10-team league. Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Keenan Allen. All right, that jives. Christian Watson, Kyle Pitts, Deontay Johnson on the bench. Akers, Pittman, Quentin Johnson, another Charger. Gibson, Schultz, and Gainwell. What do you think?
Well, you got 2 very good running backs in Henry and Chubb. So you must have drafted one of them in the first round. You got the Herbert Keenan stack. I guess that's nice. I would have liked a stronger wide receiver 1 in a 10 team. Because if you went, I'm guessing you went Chubb Henry to start your draft. I feel like there should have been in a 10 team league, there should have been better wide receivers than Keenan Allen in the 3rd. Even though I do like Keenan Allen, like I feel like there should have been guys like Ridley or maybe even T. Higgins, guys like that usually still around in the 3rd in a 10 team. I don't know. This feels like you got Christian, but this just feels like a very safe team. Like not a ton of upside here. Like I think Derrick Henry is going to be good. I think Nick Chubb is going to be good. I think Keenan's going to be good. Like Watson has upside. I think Deontay will be good. Like there's a lot of guys I feel like will be good, but not like, yeah, it just feels like a very safe floor team to me.
I mean, this is a team that's going to have to be carried by the running backs. I would say if this was a non-PPR league, I would like it better because of the guys like Henry, Chubb, and Watson.
Maybe it is.
But I think it's still, you got a lot of talent there. So I think it's a really good team. And look, if nothing else, you got your Herbert Allen stack. You'll be happy watching them play every week. So, but no, I think you've got a lot of talent. This is a good team. Randy dropped the super chat and his comment was up here. So White, London, Dotson, McKinnon, or Flowers in a half PPR to flex.
This is tough between the first 3. I'm not like I even if McKinnon is more involved without Kelce, I'm not starting him over those guys, and I don't think I'm ready to start Zay Flowers over those guys, especially in half PPR.
Sorry, same thing phrased differently, but yeah. Okay, so London, Flowers, White, McKinnon, Dotson.
Yeah, it's either London, White, or Dotson. It's half people, but that's the thing. Like I don't expect Rachaad White to have like a huge rushing game. I think he could have like an okay rushing game, but I don't expect him to like go over 100 yards rushing. Like his values in the passing game as well. So when we're looking at London, White, and Dotson, they're all their values kind of tied to the passing game. I think for me, I'm going London. It's really close between him, White, and Dotson, but like this Panthers matchup doesn't completely scare me. I think I'm still going London.
If Terry doesn't play, I think I'm going Dotson because to take advantage of that terrible defense, and he's going to get a lot of targets. London will be solid. I think Dotson just has that ceiling. So it's between London and Dotson for me, but I'm leaning Dotson. Lamar, speaking of Rachaad White, would you start him over Gibbs?
Again, I can't do it. I just like Gibbs a lot this week in this matchup against the Chiefs. I do like Rachaad White too, but look, he's on the Bucs. I mean, it's you can't really bank on like a touchdown or, like I said, a big rushing game. You're banking on a lot of receptions, which you could get, but I think Gibbs could get that too. And Gibbs can probably do more with those receptions than Rachaad White can. So I'm still going Gibbs.
Yeah, I'm going Gibbs too. I mean, I don't know if I buy all the talk about him being used as a receiver and down the field and whatever.
Every year, every offseason, some running back is going to be like their slot receiver, and then he plays like 3 snaps out of the slot all year.
Yeah, doesn't matter. I mean, the point is that still Gibbs has that upside. Like Gibbs a lot this week. Looking like he'll get a lot of touches early. White will too, but I think I like the Lions offense better. And the Chiefs defense really isn't much better than the Vikings defense, especially without Chris Jones. So yeah, I'm still going Gibbs. Like White, but not better than Gibbs. And then let's see, Les with the super chat. And here's the question. What is up? Superflex. All right. For the QB2 this week, Goff or Cousins?
Okay, I know I still gotta go Cousins. I know he has kind of the tougher matchup, but he's at home where he always plays great. Right? Minnesota's at home, right?
Pretty sure it's we'll double check, but I think it's in Minnesota.
Pretty sure it's in Minnesota. And Goff, like I said, Goff can put up really can just lay eggs on the road sometimes. So, and look, Cousins has Jefferson, Hawkinson, Addison, Osborne. Goff has St. Brown, a rookie tight end, a rookie running back, Marvin Jones, Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds. I'm going Cousins.
Yeah, Cousins probably the better pick there. You're right, because Goff looks like he's in a great spot. Could smash this week, but one of the more reliable splits that we saw last year was home road with Goff, right? Home just put up huge games in a road. He just sucked. I mean, he just did.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be fine this week. I don't dislike Goff, but I will lean Cousins. And then Zay Flowers or Sky Moore at the flex. That's a little tougher.
Well, here I think I might gamble on Sky. I do like Zay Flowers, but again, we're talking about a rookie wide receiver making his first start. Bateman is, I guess, healthy. Odell is still healthy because he hasn't played a snap yet. Mark Andrews is still there. So I don't think we can completely say week 1, Zay Flowers is going to lead this team in targets. I mean, we can't say that about Sky Moore either, but at least the door has opened up significantly more for Sky Moore with Travis Kelce probably being out, because they're still gonna they're not gonna oh, well, Travis Kelce is out, let's just become a run heavy team. They still have the best quarterback in the league. They're still gonna pass the ball a ton. So I think in this case, I'm gonna gamble on Sky Moore.
I think if you had asked me before the Kelce injury, I might have gone Flowers, although I thought it's close. I mean, both guys, we don't know what to expect. I think I have to go Sky Moore now, knowing that he's going to get more targets. He's going to have to. So, yeah, I would take the chance and go with Sky Moore too. All right, so I think let's just do a couple more because we're doing marathons the last couple of days. We're probably going to wrap this one up a little earlier. So let's do a couple more questions. Let's see some interesting trade questions here. So let's do this. Where is it? All right. Ginger 94. Would you trade Bijan to get Pollard and Walker?
I think look, assuming you can start both Pollard and Walker, because this is a so in my early days of fantasy football, when I would take advantage of my home league, I would send these kind of trades where it's hey, here's 2 really good running backs and you can give me your great running back, but you can only start one of those really good running backs, and it doesn't really benefit their team at all. But they can't resist because it's like, whoa, Pollard and Walker? Like, how do I say no? So if you can start both Pollard and Walker every week, like if you have Bijan and then say your RB2 is like Antonio Gibson or something like that, then yes, I think you have to do it. Because I like Pollard. I think Pollard has a case, like the potential to be the highest scoring running back this year. I wouldn't draft him over Bijan, but he at least has like the path. So you could still be getting a stud running back, and you're getting another very good running back. So if you can start both of them, then yes. But if you're only going to start one, don't do it.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, maybe this is a team that has, JT or something on it. But yeah, if you're going to trade a guy who we think, and we can't say is a stud because he technically hasn't played yet, rookie, but Bijan, you're going to have to get a guy. I know he will be, but you're going to have to get a guy who can be a clear RB1, and Pollard should be that. And you're getting a guy who is clearly a solid, kind of don't really have to worry about starting him or not starting him every week in RB2 and Walker. So yeah, it would be so hard to give up Bijan, but I think I would do it. I would take it.
Yep.
And then we have another super chat here from Alec. 14-man PPR, 6-point passing TD, and 14-man league. There's some tough competition. Got Allen, Pierce, Walker, DJ Moore, Dotson, Kelce, and Sky Moore, McPherson, Bills, Thielen, and Juju. All right. So the question is, how do you replace Kelce on a team like this? Noah Gray, Taysom Hill, or Luke Musgrave?
Well, not with Taysom Hill. And I just don't think I can play Musgrave. I would just roll. I would just roll with Gray. He's been in this offense for what, 2 years now, right? Isn't he entering year 3? Am I wrong about that?
Maybe more.
Maybe more.
At least a couple years.
Yeah, he's been in this. He knows the offense. He knows Mahomes. I'm not playing Taysom Hill, and I think it's too soon for Musgrave. I'm going Gray.
No to Taysom Hill. Musgrave is interesting. He's intriguing, but you're probably better off going with Gray. I'm going to agree with that. And then I'm looking because I'm trying to figure out, is this team also, it looks like he's flexing Sky Moore. So
which is probably going to work out pretty well this week, or could work out pretty well.
I mean, you don't like missing Kelce, but yeah, I think having Sky Moore is now more appealing. Does that worry you then about playing Noah Gray if you already have Sky Moore, or it doesn't matter?
No, it doesn't. Like, it's not like, no, it doesn't worry me.
All right, let's do another trade question. This is interesting here. Ulysses Talavera, Waddle and Madison for Pollard and Hopkins.
I'm gonna say again, this trade for me comes down to like, what is your team makeup? Like, I think it's fair. I think it probably slightly, for me, favors the Pollard side, because even though I'm not super high on Hopkins this year, I still like Hopkins more than Madison. Maybe I'm just gonna end up too low on Madison and regret it, but I really think Madison's a trap in drafts this year. But Waddle to Hopkins to me is a severe downgrade at wide receiver. Now, if you already have maybe you went wide receiver early and you have like 4 or 5 really good wide receivers. So it's like, I'm going to lose Waddle, but I'm going to plug in, Christian Watson for him, or DJ Moore or somebody like that, where it's like, okay, I still really like that guy, and you're getting a big upgrade at running back, then I'll do it. But if this is going to leave you really hurting at wide receiver, then I don't know if I do it. Although I do prefer the Pollard Hopkins side slightly.
I will say I don't think the downgrade from Waddle to Hopkins is as big as the downgrade from Pollard to Madison. So even though I'd hate to give up Waddle, I would do this to get Pollard Hopkins. I'm not as skeptical on Madison, but I'm also not as low on Hopkins, I guess, as you. So it's I get that offsets each other. I don't know. I think this is pretty close. I think this is a fair deal. We're really up for grabs to see who wins this trade, if anybody. I would say I slightly prefer the Pollard Hopkins side. And then never fails. Just when we were going to wrap things up, we got another super chat here from Frank the Tank. This is a 10-team league. Hurts, Pollard, Madison again. Olave, Keenan, Kelce. All right. Sanders, a defense and a kicker. Here's the bench. You got McLaurin, Dobbins, Pickens, Sky Moore, Jamison Williams or Jamal Williams, and then Van Jefferson and Komet. Thoughts, changes?
I mean, my first thought is fantastic bench. I mean, even if McLaurin misses a couple games with that turf toe, I mean, having him on your bench, Dobbins on your bench, Pickens on your bench, even Sky Moore, fantastic bench. I think Komet will, I mean, look, Komet's not going to replace Kelce production. He's just not. But I think he'll be good enough this week. Obviously, you went Kelce in the first round, so that explains everything. Is that Sanders? Okay, Miles Sanders. So yeah, I mean, this is a very good team. You got Hurts, you got Kelce when he's healthy. Hopefully, he's healthy. You got Pollard, you got Olave, so you got studs at every position, which is great. And then you got good. Like I like your depth. I like your bench. I think it's a great team. Great team. I can't really no big changes from me.
Yeah, I think you came out with a really good roster. I would say for this week, obviously you're going to have to swap out Kelce for Komet. I think that's fine. Komet is a solid option. I would put in Dobbins over Madison for sure. I know you feel that way too. What do you think about Sanders? If he's the flex, are you swapping Sanders out? I know not for McLaurin because he's probably not going to play. Not Pickens this week. Would you keep Sanders in over Sky Moore or Van Jefferson?
Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm playing Dobbins over Madison and Sanders.
Right.
For sure.
So who do you flex?
I can do without Madison this week. He's playing the Bucs. Like, what are we excited about for Matt? He's a Jag. Yeah, I can do without Madison. I'm probably still flexing Sanders. I like Sanders this week. He's going up against the Falcons. All signs are he's healthy now. He's going to be a workhorse running back. I'm fine with Sanders. Like Sky Moore, sure, there's potential now, but there's risk. Pickens, I don't like that matchup. I mean, could always hit on a big play, of course, but not loving that 49ers matchup. I'm actually going Dobbins over Madison.
Yeah, I'm starting Dobbins and probably keep Sanders in there. Sky Moore, intriguing. I like most weeks I might put Pickens in there, but this week you're probably okay just with Sanders. And then let's end with this. The King of You, 92. Someone said they would trade Garrett Wilson for Kupp or Diggs. Should I do it? And if so, which would be better for me to give up, Kupp or Diggs? Well,
I would trade Kupp for Garrett Wilson and keep Diggs. Diggs is actually healthy for now. And he's great. Like really, when we were ranking wide receivers, it was like Kupp was 4, CeeDee Lamb was 5. We're just looking at wide receivers. And then Diggs was like 6. So you're only like talking like a couple spots down from Diggs. And then Garrett Wilson was like what? Maybe 9 or 8 or something. So I would trade Kupp for Garrett Wilson. I would do Kupp if you can.
I would do that again. There potential for Garrett Wilson to outscore Kupp just flat out. Just if they play the same amount of games, no injuries, Garrett Wilson could still be just as productive. I'm not saying it's for sure, but it's definitely possible. So yeah, hold Diggs, take Wilson instead of Kupp. Agree with that. All right, I think we got to all of the chats and the super chats that we could. So appreciate you guys. We'll be back again. Don't worry, this is not the last live show we're going to be doing. And if you're drafting still, either tonight or tomorrow, just say good luck. Check out all the videos that we have already dropped. We got start sit for every position that matters. Sorry, kickers, still not you. So you can set those lineups if you've already drafted. So check those out as well. And our boom picks coming. So you know who we really, really like this week. So check out all of that content. And of course, if you haven't signed up for Underdog yet, do it. Just make sure you use promo code ENDGAME and you can take that gimme. Basically, they're trying to give you money, basically. All right. You get 100% deposit match. So every dollar you put in up to 100, you get that doubled. And you got that Pat Mahomes gimme for week 1. So check all of that out right now. And you know what? To admit, that kind of a fiend where as soon as we get off here, I'm gonna go onto Underdog and just do another draft because I got 2 days left to get my best ball fix in. So that's what I'm gonna do.
I probably would too, but I got my home league draft coming up, so I'm gonna have to do it.
So you're still doing drafting, so
yes.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time.